Hello and welcome to MudderRucker, the women's rugby podcast. This is season 3, episode 22 now. I'm Aoife Wafer.
I'm Cian.
And with a liver that looks like it's been through a shredder 3 times in a row, AIL champion, UL Bulls captain Chloe Pearse.
I'm Chloe Pearse and I'm looking for sponsorship off Strepsils if it's going.
You're a bit battered, but listen, it was worth it, right?
Oh, absolutely worth it. Worth every minute, every drink, every shot, everything. And I'd do it all again in the morning if I didn't have to go to work.
Well, we're a bit late getting to the podcast episode this week. Chloe was unavailable due to prolonged liquid-based networking. But we're back to review round 3 of the Six Nations as England beat Wales, unsurprisingly. Italy absolutely shocked Scotland, and Ireland came up short against France in Clermont. But first, we're going to grill Chloe a little bit on that massive three-peat. Chloe, 3 AIL titles in a row. And for the second year in a row, you whipped the victory right out of the jaws of the opposition, scoring when the clock is in the red. How does it feel to do the near impossible?
It would be nicer if we didn't have to be honest. Again, and I said this last year, we played the best rugby when our backs were against the wall. If we had done that for the whole game, it would have been a lot easier. But look, it's just an absolute sign of the team we have and the belief we have in ourselves and each other. And, 79-52 was the time we got the penalty. And we just said, let's go do it now. And we did. And, like Kate and Katrina managed that period really well. And it's actually surreal. Like, I can't believe, like, I honestly can't believe we did the repeat of last year when we really said we were hoping not to, but look, it ain't over till it's over, and we've proven that twice now, and you just have to keep going until that final whistle goes. And yeah, just so proud of the girls, and the fact we had the ability to do that again.
It's a real sign of resilience in the squad when the game looks to be over 2 minutes from the end. Rock have scored off the other end. And how do you kick off, get the ball back, make your way up the pitch? There's no huge break, but for the last, try, it was a team effort. It's incredible.
Yeah, like I think everyone just zoned in so well, everyone like did their job to absolute perfection except me, who threw the sweet pass back to Katrina that hit the deck, but she managed to get it up into her hands. And then Chisholm kind of gave us all a heart attack by, taking Maeve Deely on the outside and, tiptoed in front of the touchline, but somehow managed to stay in. And then like that, Ciara Dwyer and Claire Bennett, like they did all game, just a couple of big carries. And Katrina, seeing their 22 shooting up on the outside to block the sweep back to Kate and noticing that and hitting Ava O'Malley. And then, Ava having the ability to get the offload with Katrina running that support line to get under the post. Like it was huge. I couldn't believe it was happening as it was unfolding in front of me. It was incredible. I still need to watch it back at some point, but I'll probably just kill us all about the whole game and how it went, and bar the last 4 minutes.
I was about to ask, have you watched it back? I can't imagine you've had the time, but the way you talk about it, like you're envisioning every single step, like it's ingrained in your brain. Is that just how you generally function, or is that just a highlight of the game for you, and you can't kind of wipe it from your mind?
Yeah, we watched it back all right. Like we had the whole team over, Monday morning, had breakfast, threw it on the TV out in the garden. But like that, I was kind of in and out. But I suppose that passage's play, it just seemed like such slow motion, because so much riding on it. So like everything is just so ingrained in how it went and what happened. And it was just amazing. Like our ability to keep the ball alive, our ability to hit rucks and, not make any kind of error to go under the post. Like, so for me, it just like, honestly, I replay it and, it just sits in my brain now. But, yeah, look, I suppose it would be easy to win the games, not like that. But at the same time, we love the drama, I suppose.
And for me, the standout players in the day, I think Massey, aka Claire Bennett, she knew exactly what her job was, and she kept slugging away at it, doing a lot of the hard work. And Anna McInerney on the wing was absolutely unbelievable. Set up one try, scored the next one. And then the bench were absolutely pivotal. Katrina Finn and Chisholm McGuire were so impactful when they came off the bench. Chloe, who for you was the standouts of the day, apart from yourself, of course?
Oh, believe me, it definitely wasn't me. It was probably the worst game of rugby I've played all season. But sure, look, that's what the rest of the team is for. We carry each other, So,
Yeah.
those were definitely standouts. And on top of Massey doing the dirty work, like she got an intercept as a second
Yeah,
row, blocked down a kick as a second row. Like she
yeah.
did other things that were amazing as well. Like
Mhm.
a couple of people coming up with big plays. For me, it was our seven, Ava O'Malley. Like she was immense, red scrum cap, and even when we watched it back like Monday morning, like the work she did, like she must have covered every blade of grass. In
Mm.
the Aviva, she's only young. Like this is her first season with us. Got injured unfortunately at the start, like probably a couple of games in, and only came back about 2 months ago and forced her way into the team. We had a very settled back row, and she managed to force her way in, and I just thought she was absolutely amazing. I thought she did so much. Like she got one turnover on our line. After
Mm.
an incredible Aoife Corey tackle as well, last ditch tackle. But yeah, like I thought she was the standout for me, just for someone so young for their very first season AIL, and on the biggest stage, I don't think she put a foot wrong.
I agree. I think she played with, incredible maturity.
Mm.
For somebody so young and on such a big stage in a stadium she's never played in before, it just showed, the class of player she is now and what she's gonna become. And speaking of maturity, the $1 million question: when you go again?
Look, as I always say, you shouldn't make any decisions when you're emotional or drunk, and I'm not sure which I still am. So be- won't be making any decisions on that. I'm gonna take the few weeks celebrating, and I'll sit down in the summer with myself and Clodagh and see what our plans are for the future. And I'll keep everyone posted. But the honest answer is I don't know.
Let the
Well,
agent get to work, Chloe. Let the agent get to
Agent,
work.
yeah,
That's all I'm
yeah.
saying.
My
Get that bag.
contract, yeah,
Get
yeah,
that
my
bag.
contract. Hey, are ye not my agents?
it's definitely not me.
Is that not what this is?
Cian, you're onto that, right? Yeah, yeah, great.
Yeah. No worries. I'll have some lunches with some people.
Great,
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
great. You can expense it back.
Yeah. Right, we'll move on to the Six Nations then. So England, unsurprisingly, like I said, beat Wales 62-24. I think, to some degree, the scoreline is a little bit surprising. I thought England would do a lot more than 62 and that Wales would struggle to get on the scoreboard at all. Chloe, Wales really appear to be building into something with that kind of a score at the end there, even getting the bonus point.
Yeah, exactly. And like those last two tries to fight for everything. And I think Beth and Lewis probably epitomized that team and where they're going. Their captain, Kate Williams, is out, and she stepped into the role, and I thought she was immense. She scored the third try through a lovely pass for the fourth to get in the corner. But they just showed what they're about. England showed what they're about again, right? They have more injuries now. They have more players coming in. They've new cap scoring tries, and as usual, they're demolishing everyone. But I think Wales have grown into it. I think they're going to be a formidable opposition for us in 2 weeks' time, and definitely not a team to take lightly. But they just show so much heart. But
Mm.
some of their systems are still failing, and that's where England scored a lot of tries. A lot of tries out wide. But even like one of the tries near the ends, there's a tackle in the middle, and there's absolutely no fault. Like not one person goes around the rock, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that is like, if that happened in our league, I'd be wondering what's going on. Like, but this is an international stage, and you have
Mm.
no defenders folding. That's what would worry me for Wales a little bit. But again, if you fix that, then they'll be up there with us. They'll definitely hang in there, and then going into the last game looking for a win as well.
For me, I'm definitely fearing Wales, probably more so than Scotland in the next round. Do you think that's a little bit crazy to fear Wales more than Scotland, or given the results of the weekend, is it going to be a struggle for us against Wales?
I think it'll be a 60-minute game for us. I know Wales got those two tries in the last 12 minutes or the last 6 minutes, whatever it was, but I still think we have enough, to beat them and beat them with the bonus point, but they're definitely not a team to take lightly. They'll show a lot of heart, but I just think we just have to be more clinical. And if we're more clinical than we were this weekend gone, I think we'll have no issues. I wouldn't write off Scotland. Like they're definitely quite wounded after the hammering against England, and then they go to Italy, and the wounded Italy end up hammering them again, and So I think, we're going to see a reaction from them when they play us the last game. It's always a grudge game, ourselves in Scotland. There's been a
Always.
couple of ding-dongs the last few years.
Yeah.
But I would just respect both oppositions equally. I think you have to do that. I don't think you fear anyone any less, because at the end of the day, it's a game of test rugby, and you don't take anyone lightly. That's when it gets you.
England as a squad are so polished. All of their structures are so well oiled. But the player in particular that's standing out to me above all else is Zoe Harrison. 15 from 15 off the boot, Cian. That's through 3 rounds. It's quite the statistic. You've been looking into how good it really is.
Yeah. Now, I want to earn this one because I think, to be honest, some people would go, 15 from 15, grand. England are scoring loads of tries. They're all under the posts. They can do whatever they want,
They're
move
not.
on. So, yeah, no, I know they're absolutely not. She didn't kick in round one at all. That was all Roland. Harrison came off the bench in round one, but not as a kicker. Um, so that was Roland that game, and she went 4 from 5. So everything Harrison has done is across 2 appearances as a designated kicker. Round two is the big one. Scotland, 84 points, 12 tries, 12 conversions. Perfect conversion rate. The thing about that day was England scored through like 8 different players, and they were from all over the field. It
Yeah.
wasn't 12 tap-ins from under the bar. There were kicks in that set that would have had any other international kicker walking back without the 2 points. And then round three, that's where you get a proper comparison. Roland starts, England running riot, scoring for fun, the usual. Roland misses 4 conversions in that first hour. She was 80% before going into that game. Perfectly respectable, quite
Yeah.
good international kicker stats. And tries being scored all over the place, the same as Harrison had done without having to blink. So Harrison comes off the bench 60 minutes, no warm up, immediately converts the breach try, then the Packer try, and then the Muir try. Bang, bang, bang. 3 from 3 in the last 20 minutes. You couldn't, like, if you wanted a head-to-head comparison, you couldn't design a clearer one. So,
No.
for that comparison matters, you can see exactly what this tournament looks like for other kickers. Next best is Helen Nelson. Good tournament, 87%. Very good. Carla Arbez, 79%. Dan is at 66. These are good international kickers, but they're not at 100. Nobody's at 100 except Harrison.
That's just incredible stats. And you've also dived into the research behind kicking in the women's game, and you got some interesting information on that.
Yeah, you know me too well. Give me an opportunity to do some research. I'm like, yeah. Rabbit holes, for sure. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, I'm proud. So, piece of academic research I found, published last year, first of its kind, specifically on the internationals women's game and kicking rates. And what I found is the average conversion success rate in women's international rugby is 56.9%. So not 60, not 70, 56.9. Sounds low until you understand why. Because you don't get to choose where you take your conversions from. You can pick and choose where you take your penalties from. You don't, if it's a tough kick, you kick down the line instead. Like if it's not within range, if it's a bad angle, but you have to take every conversion. So the conversion rates are always going to be lower. 70 penalties is about 78%, conversions 57%. It's an entirely different thing. So we'll just look at conversions. And the reason 57, it's about 15% lower than the men's game, which is 72. It's probably 2 reasons. One, biomechanics. Generally speaking, in the women's game, you generate a lower ball velocity through the kick, and that changes the geometry of the problem, particularly on wide angle attempts. The harder the angle, the more the gap in that velocity costs you. You get a quicker fade, basically. The second reason is structural. Women's rugby has only really started offering professional contracts since about 2019. So when the data for that study was collected, most international kickers outside of England and France were still semi-professional, professional, or amateur. So limited specialist practice with kicking, it's going to pull your average down. Neither of those things applies to Zoe Harrison, fully professional player at the peak of her game, but it does give you an idea of the context she's operating in. So just to kind of sum it all up, to look at the probability of kicking 15 from 15, it kind of depends on how good you think Harrison is. You assume she's world class, right? 90%. chance of getting a kick, which is genuinely elite, top level, kind of
Elite.
top three in the world, easy. I still only bet a 1 in 5 chance of going 15 from 15. You step that down to an 80%, you're looking still at a very good kicker. That drops to about 1 in 30.
Wow. Okay.
Bring it down to the men's international conversion average, 72%, you're looking about 1 in 70. If you bring it to the baseline against the average international women's conversion rate, 56.9%, you're talking about 1 in 4,000.
Wow.
1 in 4,000. That's maths. That's not made up. That's not ballpark. That's maths. It's incredible. So to have done that on an international stage, like she's not obviously not an average kicker, but like even the best men's kickers in the world, Ramos, Russell, they're finishing tournaments like mid to high 80s. That's what world class looks like over full competition in the men's game. So it gives you a reference point. And the reference point is she's better than all of them.
All of them. Hands
Incredible.
down. That's some incredible stat work that you've done there. Like 1 in 4,000 chance of doing what she's doing. And yet she makes it look so easy. Like that's just phenomenal. But I doubt she's going to continue that perfect rate, but oh my God, I'm here for it. Right. I'm interested in watching England again. Amazing, Cian. Thank you so much for that. Right, we'll move on to Italy, Scotland, the shocker of a game in Parma, Chloe. Italy must have really done their homework on the Scots, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, they probably didn't expect to come over to Galway and lose like they did to us. And, France had done a number on them. So they looks like, they fixed a lot of things. But like it was the intensity of what they did. Every mistake Scotland made, they punished them. They were so clinical. They played to their strengths, like we'd seen Dinka the year before, and the past 2 or 3 years, I suppose, lighten it up, and Muzzo as well. And they just, like, they got the ball to them, they did damage. And then when it came to set piece as well, they were just unstoppable. Definitely did their homework. I think Scotland will, like, they're probably lucky there's a week off. They probably need it to go away and look at themselves and figure out what the hell has gone wrong, because we spoke about Scotland at the start and, how they were still exciting. We knew they were down a couple of leaders, in Evie Gallagher and Jade Conkle, but still had the X factor in the back line. And we just haven't really seen it, but Italy were, you had to give them all credit. The only thing was probably the discipline, 3 yellow cards in the game.
Yeah.
And that's where Scotland kind of capitalised. But at that stage, the game was over. It was over at that point, even when the 2 yellow cards came together.
Yeah. If 2 yellow cards is just shy of 60 minutes, but Scotland didn't score until the 52nd minute. That's a huge gap. While Italy are scoring tries left, right, and centre. Do you feel it's a blip for Scotland? I know you said you feel they need a break, but do you think they're going to come out roaring against France after that break, or do you think it's going to be a tournament you won't forget?
It's hard to know because, like, England absolutely blew them away as well. Like, like if you look at the comparisons between the scoreline of ourselves and England, even the score, like Wales got to lose some bonus point. Like, a try bonus against England, like that's amazing. Like, Cian, there's the next research. When was the last team that got a try bonus versus England?
France were the only other team to have done it in the Six Nations, and I think it was a good while back.
Last year they would have got the try bonus because they.
Oh, sorry, I meant the first. Points. Yeah, the first time they did it was a good while back. But they must have done it last year as well.
So that's. Yeah, so that's kind of if you're to look at results and judge them based off that and where Scotland are, it is kind of looking like a tournament to forget. But for their sake, you hope that they do come out, and possibly put it up to France. I don't think by any means they're going to win it, but they definitely need to look for a performance. And then hopefully they fall off the cliff again when they play us and we'll have a great time in the Aviva. But they definitely need to find and go to the well now this week in training to ensure this isn't a tournament to forget, because, it's not over yet for them.
Yeah, it's going to take something quite special from them because, post-break going up against France, that's not an easy game. They haven't had an easy run up to the Aviva. We'd be hoping we get a shook team, but you could just never rule them out. like what happened in the Hyde last year. You know, we thought we're on for this, and no, they came out of the blocks pretty quickly and hurt us. But the Italian back three, I thought were very, very busy in that game. Several scores, but for me, the pack were really the driving force behind that Italian performance. And, you know, that no more obvious than when they were down to 13 players just before 60 minutes. And they're still scoring a try, 13 versus 15. And the pack just obliterates everybody and over they go.
Yeah, it's my favorite when you're down players. I know it well this weekend, but sometimes, you know, you work a little bit harder when you're down players, and you have to keep things a little more compact because you know you haven't got extra players, and sometimes it nearly goes in your favor, and that's what they did. But like their set piece has always been good, you know. But you know, young prop, you know, first start for Italy, and she got 2 tries.
Amazing.
Yeah, which was just brilliant. Like it's good for them to start bringing players through as well.
Mm.
But no, I agree. I thought the back three were excellent. They just, you know, kept the ball alive, and just like from coast to coast, some of the work they did was amazing.
Cian, aka Mr. Statman. Was that a record score for Italy in the Six Nations? I don't remember them doing that many points. And, you know, getting that bonus point try as well, how important could that be in the final standings?
Yeah, so on the record question, Italy have actually hit 41 points against Scotland before back in 2021, same
Okay.
score, but Scotland got 20 that day. So difference in this year is they got 14. So it's Italy's biggest winning margin over Scotland in the Women's Six Nation era. And the halftime score, 29-0. It wasn't a game that ebbed and flowed. This was shell shocked from the opening whistle, never recovered. It was a bloodbath. I think what made one of the things that made Italy so dangerous was the selection call made before the game, moving Dinka from centre to the wing. Like her performance on the wing was amazing. 2 tries, 17 tackles, a brilliant all round display. In a new position. And then you had 21-year-old tight head Zanetti scoring twice in 49 minutes from the front row. It's like, you can't be doing that. 21 years old is a problem. Like, you get your card taken off you. It was really, a really complete performance, like with dominant scrum, 100% line out, backs and forwards all contributing. And yeah, the context of that is that below that kind of title race, that's really boring. I mean, who cares about France and England anyway?
No, nobody cares.
It gets really interesting below that. And it's Italy's bonus point win there really changes the picture. They're on 6 points, which is a point ahead of both of us and Scotland. Now, Ireland have the cleanest path. It's Wales and Belfast in round 4, which should win.
Should.
And if they take a try bonus, it's up to 10 points. Now, that's not a given how they fronted up against England at all. So 9 or 10 points we're looking at, hopefully. That stage, Ireland would be within 1 win of guaranteeing 3rd place. Beat Scotland in the final round of the Aviva, and you're on at least 13, above anything Italy could realistically reach.
Okay.
But if Ireland win against Wales and then lose to Scotland and Dublin, could finish on anywhere between 9 and 11 points. Italy, they pick up a bonus point against England, beat Wales with a bonus point, they could reach 12. That's at least one scenario where Italy could sneak above Ireland into 3rd, which would be massive for them and absolutely horrific for us. Scotland's situation is a bit trickier. They've got France at home in round 4, which, let's face it, is likely to be a loss. If they lose without a bonus, which is also quite possible, they stay on 5 going into the final game against Ireland. Even if they beat Ireland after that, they finish on potentially 10 points, which is below Italy's potential 12. So to finish above Italy, Scotland would need a bonus point against France and a win against Ireland. So that's 2 things that would need to go right, and they're both kind of tall orders, which makes a very tall order.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Italy, it was more about winning the game. They put themselves in a really good position to kind of climb up that greasy pole that is the Six Nations table. And the Ireland-Scotland game Dublin could be the first ever. It is the first ever standalone game in the Aviva. The Women's Six Nations. It could end up deciding 3rd, 4th, and 5th in one go. Oh, and also France 2023 got the try bonus against England, and then Wales this year.
Yeah, okay. Love how you can just pull stats out like it's nothing. My God.
Oh,
You're so mad about it.
furious typing on mute.
Right, we'll move on to the game that really wasn't. France versus Ireland at the weekend, 26 points to 7. So it's not the big day that we'd hoped for, but it was still an overall solid performance, and yet with some clear work-ons.
Yeah, it's it's just so disappointing because
Mm.
they had so many opportunities to win,
Mm.
but yet when you actually look at the performance, like some of it was really poor.
Mm.
Um, like France made 240 tackles, like they had five players, I think, make over 20, or maybe four and one on 19. But I thought that's because we ran straight into them about,
Mm.
let's just keep running in. And at times it worked when Aoife Wafer carried.
Yeah, it
And,
did feel like that just trying to punch through, didn't it?
yeah, like, and I just felt we'd nothing out the back. Like, the only thing we ran out the back was at the very end from Eilish Cahill to Dana to Stacey, and then we kicked the ball out, which was mind-boggling to say the least when we were trying to
Mm.
score a try. But anyways, but like I just felt off the back line, we were so lateral the whole game. I thought Eve Higgins improved that when she came on.
Yeah.
She actually added punch. I'd be surprised if she didn't start the Wales game. But yeah, just so frustrating because we were trying to
Mm.
batter the door down, and I think France were so comfortable in tackle, tackle, tackle. Obviously their discipline was desperate again,
Yeah, yeah.
but when France had their chances, they took them then.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. Really was, their efficiency rate in the 22 was much higher than ours.
It was really surprising to me. Like I said, they were trying to punch through and they were just going for those heavy carries of the middle. No real creativity from them. Week before, though, against Italy, ball out the back, out to our wingers, and we scored and scored and scored, a hat trick for Baby. It was unbelievable that we just seemed to just go for let's go up the middle and battle them. They have a huge pack. They've props that are built like a brick shithouse. Why do you think we went for that just up the middle and was it a lack of creativity, a lack of confidence with our backs?
I honestly don't like it's actually it just baffles me like
Mm.
it is baffling to know why would we change the game plan so much. Like their biggest defensive back was missing, Vernier. Like she was
Mm.
missing. They had a back three, a really inexperienced back three. They had a
Yeah,
number eight playing centre at 12.
yeah,
So surely you had to like obviously if she makes the read right, she's probably going to kill you. You know,
yeah,
she's huge, Tiani Falau. But like they had to try put her under pressure and make her make those hard decisions that she's not used to. I know she plays 12 with her club, but like historically she plays back row like so it was just like I really don't understand where the game plan was. But as I always say, if the game plan's not working, you have to have the ability to rip it up, throw it out the window, and be a smart rugby player and play what's in front of you. Like that's the
mm.
reality. Like you're an international rugby player, you have to be able to do that. But yeah, like just so tough to watch at times because again, like the effort was there, but like
Yeah.
there's no trophies for effort in this tournament.
Unfortunately not. And when I saw the French team come out during the week and like that, they had the back row at 12, I was just thinking, move the ball, don't run at them, keep those, forwards moving, exhaust them, and then, run around them potentially. But it's obviously not the game plan we opted for. Cian, in saying all of that, it was quite a positive game in terms of how we fronted up. But the final score, I feel like it didn't really, it wasn't an accurate reflection of the dogfight that we saw in Clermont.
It certainly felt like it. And the number that tells you everything isn't even in the stats pack, to be honest. Ireland crossed that line 5 times in the first 40 minutes
Yeah.
and walked in for half time with 7 points. Like 3 tries ruled out by the TMO, Hogan to it, and Maloney MacDonald. And different reasons, double movement, a fairly miraculous last ditch Arbez tackle, followed by Grando getting her entire body under the ball on the line, and
Yeah,
then a knock
incredible.
on by Lane in the build up to the third one. So, the one area where Ireland couldn't match France was accuracy near the try line.
Yeah.
Some of those denials, you couldn't say it's entirely to do with accuracy. It had a lot to do with the extraordinary French defending and
Mhm.
a bit of bad luck thrown in for good measure.
Yeah.
Like Ireland looked the better team for 40 minutes and kind of had nothing to show for it after that 40 minutes, unfortunately. There's some amazing individual performances in that. Like Maloney McDonald was everywhere.
She was unhinged. She was brilliant.
Yeah. Scored the try that stood. Had crucial jackal turnover in R22 when France were threatening, and nearly crossed another 2 times. Erin King was a demon at the breakdown.
Yeah.
Aoife Wafer carried so hard in that first half, and unfortunately did fall off. You'd wonder maybe like being asked to carry so often into traffic, like it turns your legs into lead. Aoife Dalton with a crucial tackle in the corner when France threatened to score another time. Wall making a sensational diagonal run to set up Treat's near miss. And on any other day, 3 or 4 of those players come off the pitch with a win.
Yeah.
That second half, like France, they have scored over 80% of their points in this championship after half time. Right on
Very
cue,
much
they came
second half
out.
team.
Wore Ireland down, 3 tries in the last 30. Ireland missed 35 tackles to France's 15 across the 80 minutes. So all that territory in possession. And we just could not contain France once the game opened up. There's the turnovers as well. Going into Clermont, like they were leaking ball all over the place. 23 turnovers against Wales the week before. 9 against us. That's not fair.
Something they fixed.
What the hell? Yeah, they really did fix that one. In fairness, like we were hoping for Messi stop-start game at the breakdown, be able to exploit that, and it just never happened. Certainly not in the second half. But look, it was an incredible match. Like the crowd we're giving Ireland players an ovation at the end as well. Like there was a lot of respect for that game. But it also says we're still stuck at that same junction. Like we're capable of kind of going toe to toe with France for parts of the game. Like we're so close. Like it's right there. We have the players. It's just like the gap with France is 78 points back in 24, 21 points in this round. This year against England, Clermont was 19 points. Didn't feel that wide. Trajectory is real. Just need to start getting results.
Yeah, I think we need to, like that. We need to be more clinical in those last few meters. Chloe, I think you could potentially call it a little bit of kind of white line fever to one degree. Particularly the double movement on the ground. Be patient. We can recycle the ball, but keep that ball. But I think overall we're talking the game of really, really fine margins. If we score those 3 tries, it's as tight a game as can be, potential win out there. And like you said, there's no cups for effort, but they do have the right attitude. Like Cian said, Cian and McDonald, I actually thought she was going to swing for somebody. She was giving her all out there.
Yeah.
She brought the fire and the fury. She was incredible. But Chloe, what do we have to do this time 12 months? What do we have to do? We're knocking on their door constantly. The World Cup quarter-final should have been ours. It really felt like that should have been ours. We had the momentum, that knock-on at the end that they get the benefit of despite knocking it on. All those things just feel like we're just shy of a bit of luck or something.
Yeah, and it is. And sometimes with a bit of luck comes a bit of belief. Like if they got one of those wins, would we, and I do believe they do think they're good enough, but sometimes, is that what causes those nervousnesses? But I think if we got one, it would kickstart our future. It would kickstart our new look on this competition and against England too. But it's just the clinicalness. And to be honest, I don't know, like bar Eve Higgins, I don't know did the bench bring much impact. If you were to look at the 2 benches.
Apart from my leash.
Obviously.
To
be honest, Eilish should have been brought on, and I'm not saying this because I have a bias. I
completely agree.
Linda was goosed.
She was out on her feet from 60 minutes. She was
exactly.
gone.
Yeah. And he brought on the bomb squad and left Eilish on the bench. And do you know who's lethal in front of the try line? Eilish. But anyways, right, that maybe is a bias, but I do think she should have been brought on as well. I'm not saying it would have changed the game, but I thought she would have added something. But I just thought, yeah, Sam, Neve, and Noddy, like, I don't really know what they added. I thought they took the wrong second row off in Darrow. I thought she was
Yeah.
having a really good game. She was making a lot of tackles, but I thought she was having more impacts than Fiona Chute, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I would have left her on. Same with Brittany. Like, I was looking, but then I'm like, you have to bring. I suppose, look, you're trying to bring on fresh legs, but I do think that's the second week in a row we haven't had impact from a lot of big players. As I said, Eve, I thought did very well. Eilish probably wasn't on long enough to make any impact, let's be
Yeah.
honest. Um, but yeah, like, just that's what I think was the difference as well. Like, Esquerdo came on, like, in any other team she starts and she
Mm.
made herself known. She had a
Yeah.
couple of turnovers at the breakdown, a couple of massive runs, and probably helped set up two of the tries by her kind of the influence she had on the game. But
Mm.
that for me was a little bit of the difference between the two teams. It was the impact off the bench, and obviously the clinicalness. But like, what do we have to do? We just have to start doing it. That's it. We
Mm.
can't keep talking about actions and how we believe we're the best and we're on this journey. Like, the buck has to stop somewhere, and
Yeah.
we see actions. Like, regardless of the fact that we're saying the game plan was a bit mad, and we still had opportunities. And if
Yeah.
we had
Mm.
gotten some of those tries, maybe then the shackles would have come off, and maybe we would have started to believe if we had gone in, about 10 or 12 points up, and but
Yeah.
we just have to start doing it, and that's it. Like, and some of it was so silly, like the knock on at the ruck, and like, I think Fiona Chute has to score that. I don't care that it's miraculous defending, she has to score that.
Yeah.
So I just,
Yeah.
some of it, like, I know it's luck, but at the end, some of it I think is just a lack of accuracy from us.
Mm. I think the positives that I take away from the game and I suppose the competition so far is that, yes, we're building better depth. Yes, we have a new captain this year as well, a very young captain. So, that's a lot of change being brought in. I love to see the likes of Eilish Cahill being used. I know we're absolutely biased as biased can be, but to see, like, we were complaining going into the World Cup that if we lost Linda, we were goosed because we just didn't have anybody that you could really trust to be that kind of tight head operator to do the basics really, really well. And I think we have that in Eilish. We're looking at different benches coming off. Sometimes they're not as impactful as you'd want them to be, but we're looking at big players coming off the bench with big performances on the pitch as well. So I think there's definitely cause for hope. While third is the highest we can get in this competition this year, I think we're going to be knocking on that door second. I'd hope it would happen next year. Even better the following years we build into this next World Cup cycle. So it's I think it's overall a positive.
Yeah. Could I throw in one hand grenade?
Go on.
Do we need to be in the referee's ear a bit more? I mean, 15 penalties, 15
Absolutely.
and
And
one card.
I personally think Brittany's double movement is a penalty try, because their number one makes the tackle before and she never gets back up. And when Brittany goes, she impacts the tackle while she's on her knees. So it's illegal. And I said it at the time and I watched it back before I came on. She's completely off her feet when she makes that tackle. It's a penalty try and a yellow card. So that's like, those are the things, like, even as the TMO is on the screen, that Erin should be doing. Like, and again, 15 like, even though they had gotten a yellow card for the intentional knockdown, like, again, and I did say this is just experience, right?
Yeah.
Like, of when you do it. And look, you don't always get it right either. God knows I got it wrong the weekend. Probably not a good relationship I had with the ref, and I'm doing it a few years, like, but it happens, right? You won't always get it right, but I think, like, she has to be pushing a little bit more. Definitely, like, because that they were penalty, and even before, our first try, there was another advantage for Bordanson Seuss being offside at the ruck again. So she really needs to. That's something that they need to help her with, though. Those leaders around the pitch also need to help her and kind of be pushing her to go up maybe.
It's real skill engaging with the ref, though, isn't it? And
it so is.
It's a personality thing as well. You have to have the right personality to do it. You have to approach them in a way that that isn't confrontational, that is seeking to help some or to just make them aware of things. But at the same time, it's the rest personality you're dealing with as well.
Yeah.
And Chloe, you have so much experience doing this. I'm sure how you deal with one ref versus how you deal with another ref, you get a completely different response. So it's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, and as I said, like you still don't get it right, even though, you're doing it so long, like, and as I said, even the weekend itself, I definitely got it wrong a couple of times, But look, that's life, and you live and you learn, but sometimes you have to push and you have to ask questions, and I got it wrong, I still ask the questions, and Mavo got a yellow card, so sometimes you're getting it wrong, but they're still listening, I suppose, and they'll tell you go away and they'll tell you whatever, but they're obviously listening.
It still gets
is
in
going
there.
in.
Yeah,
Exactly. And look, well, like, and again, I'm going to say they're only humans as well, but that's what the TMO is for, like, and that's what frustrates me sometimes is, they're going to the TMO about a double movement, and I'm like, okay, but is anyone looking at the one, like, I'm like, just because the question has come in about the double movement, you should be able to interject and say,
of course.
well, she's off her feet, like, so
Yeah.
that's kind of the frustrating part for me sometimes. And then, if you're a captain and you're asking loads, like you do see when they're looking at the TMO, the captain, like the ARs are like bodyguards, aren't they? And they don't let you come over. So that's hard as well. But you just hope you would trust the system in that sense for the TMO to come in, but also spot the other infringement.
Looking at clips, I didn't actually get to see the full match, but Munster game at the weekend was quite interesting. At one point, Tide Byrne is in a ruck. Player comes in the side and he's twisted and flipped in the air, and he lets a roar at the ref. He's in their side again, and the ref gives him an absolute bollocking.
Yeah.
But he's right. Like he's right, but it's about that approach. You can't be roaring at the ref. You have to be going, ref, next time can you take a look? They're not going to go, yeah, you're right, I'm going to reverse my call on this one. They're going to look ahead, and you have to look at the going forward and not retrospectively.
Yeah,
Cian, go
and
on,
you can even
get your Leinster point in there, Cian. Go on. you know it's there somewhere.
He can't. Caelan Doris is captain, and the refs hate him too.
Yeah, Jesus. The refs hate every captain we have. It seems to be the running theme is like, who will the refs hate them? Oh, yeah, get them to be captain. Great. Sad.
Give it to Craig Casey, that's what I say.
Yeah, he seems to have. Sometimes I wonder, is it though? And I don't know if you saw it, like Tricky was on a podcast during the week and she actually spoke about the differences in approach as a captain, because she said she's quite small in stature. So like her going up to a referee is a lot less confrontational versus she said like her and Sam speak about this, and how Sam goes up, she's always mindful because Sam is quite big in stature.
Yeah.
So, maybe that is a little bit of as well, like Tyke and Caelan are quite big players. So them actually approaching a ref, regardless of what they're trying to get across, possibly it just comes across that little bit abrasive. Psychology of ref, and maybe that's the next one, Cian, you need to look into. Do refs hate anyone over 100 kg?
Do you know what needs to happen? When Rachel Malcolm retires, she needs to give courses on how to deal with refs, because she is absolutely spectacular at it. I don't know if it's a Scottish accent or if it's the Tuesday grin or whatever, but they love her and she'll say whatever and they'll go, yes, Rachel, no problem, Rachel. And off they go.
Yeah.
Scottish accent.
Or maybe she's just a nicer person than everyone else we know.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah,
maybe.
I'll give that to her. That to her.
Probably that.
Right, so that's round 3 of the Six Nations. It's wrapped up. Ireland next take on a resurgent Wales in Belfast with this weekend off. So that's the 9th of May up in Belfast. Get your tickets. It's going to be a great day out in Ravenhill. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram, Blue Sky, and the links will be in the show notes. Huge thank you to Chloe, who is the shell of the former human she was. Fair play to you for showing up, and best of luck for the next round of drinking. Until next time, keep on rocking.